How this affects you.
Most people think that it is terribly unfair that being liked has as much to do with getting hired as it does. Hardly any hiring authority is ever going to admit that it is as much as 40% of the hiring decision. It is true that the first 20% of the hiring decision is based on the candidate's ability to do the job. But being liked or fitting in with the rest of the company and the individuals in it is a bigger question. Cultural fit is the term that many hiring authorities will apply to the kind of people that fit into their organization. In the vast majority of these hiring situations, like attracts like. These are companies that, as a whole, look for people that are just like, or at least mostly like, everyone else in the company. Instead of an individual hiring authority passing his or her own personal judgment, the company does as a whole. Even when a candidate is not being judged by the people in the company, there's still going to be a personal compatibility assessment on the part of a hiring authority. People will not hire someone they don't like. It's just that simple. And you probably won't go to work for someone you don't like. It works both ways. I've experienced more qualified candidates not being hired because they weren't liked either by the individual hiring authority or by the company as a whole more than any other issue in the hiring process. We've all experienced the same kind of thing in our workplace. How many times have we all experienced an individual being promoted who may not be very qualified but is liked by management, so he or she is promoted? It is unfair. But let's face it, life isn't fair either. Now there will always be people who may not like you as much as they may like others or vice versa. That's fair. And it would be foolish to tell people who simply dislike each other to stop it. But, as a candidate, you need be prepared to be evaluated personally. You need to be ready to be judged by your social skills as well as your professional skills. Based on my experience, 35 to 40% of the hiring processes include some kind of social interview interaction. These can be anywhere from a lunch interview, a golf or tennis match hiring authority, an invitation to a Christmas party, or a trip to a company function before the candidate is hired. The social events during the interviewing process don't have anything to do with the candidate's ability to do the job. Companies and hiring authorities are simply trying to find out how well the person might fit in from a personal point of view. I've also seen candidates blow their chances of getting hired by screwing up these social interviews. I've had candidates who have stuffed themselves at lunch or dinner interviews. I had a candidate one time who played golf with the CEO and didn't get hired because the CEO thought that he had lied about his score on a couple of holes. I've known candidates to get into political and moral arguments with potential peers at social interviewing events. I've had candidates drink too much at Christmas parties, and spouses of candidates who embarrassed themselves and their spouses at such social events. I'm not a fan of social interviewing situations for the very reason that too much can go wrong. I know, it's hard to practice being liked. What is important is to be aware that being liked is part of getting hired. Once a candidate realizes that, he or she is better prepared for success in the process,